Hey guys, so this evening I'm shooting out the front of the house again, as when the sun goes down out the front of the house, and at the moment we have no neighbors opposite us, so we have a clear unobstructed view of the skies. And Orion comes up over there and travels over top of the house, and then you can get it from the rear terrace later at night. But as it's a Sunday and I have work tomorrow, I want to capture some stuff early, so I'm shooting out the front of the house and I'm on a target called the Parrot Nebula. Well, it's a combination. There's two nebulas next to each other and I can frame it so I've got both the Parrot and the Seagull Nebulae. I haven't seen images of these before. I just started shooting them because they were there, they were visible, there was no clouds covering them at the moment when I started, and so that's what I'm shooting, and we'll see what comes out. So here in Stellarium you can see over here we have the Seagull Nebulae, and down here we have the the Parrot Nebulae, and there's this like kind of cloud of dust here, lots of stars. So we're going to try and pick up this and this cluster down here. So all of this area here fits into our frame. So once I've chosen my target in Stellarium, I get the coordinates, I get them transferred over here into Nina. And then here in Nina, I can use plate solving to get everything aligned up. So I have this framing assistant. So in the framing assistant, I download an image from NASA, which matches up with what it is we're going to be taking a picture of. Rotate the camera around to get lined up. So this gray box here is what I'm going to be imaging in the orientation of my camera. Once you've done that, slew to target, plate solve, it makes sure that you're all lined up, and then we start imaging. So these are the images that are coming in. So I'm doing 90-second exposures with a gain of 150. I've got these artifacts on there. I think this is due when the camera cools. So I did heat it up to try and overcome that, and then cooling it slowly again, but I don't know, we'll see if we can just remove those in post-processing. But anyway, this is what we're capturing. So a lot of stars. Not seeing any of the nebulae here on these initial images that are coming in, but that's probably mostly down to the fact that this is not an emission nebula, it's a reflection nebula. So being a reflection nebula means it's just reflecting light that's around it, it's not emitting light, so it's going to be much harder to kind of pick up, and we're probably not going to see it until we do some post-processing. So a bit like the Horsehead Nebula, which it doesn't really show up until you've captured quite a few frames. So as usual, I've got this coming in to Deep Sky Stacker Live so we can see live what's coming in. So these are our live plates here. No detail in there, but that's typical. A lot of people, when they start astrophotography, they start seeing these live pictures coming in, and you're looking at them and you're thinking, what is it that I'm taking a picture of? Is it even the right thing? And you know, the magic really happens later on when you get all these exposures and they're stacked, and you bring them out into Photoshop or some other image processing software, where you can really then see how they look. So as I'm doing 90-second exposures, you can see the stars are a little bit elongated because I'm not using auto guiding. I'm just relying on the side reel tracking of the mount. So you can see there's a little blur to these. It's not great, but auto guiding is a whole other skill that I haven't gone into yet, and I'm going to, but I want to do it on an evening when we've got really good clear skies for quite some time, so I can play around with it, because it obviously relies on an unobstructed view of the stars to get the tracking working. So so far we've got 13 images stacked, 19 minutes of data here. I'm going to collect at least an hour, maybe 2 hours of data on this if we can. So we're just going to leave this running, and we'll see how this goes and what we get later on when we're able to start actually editing this image. So the images that we're getting coming in are actually improving over time. You see, we're shooting this way, and you can see actually over there is the city of Angeles city, and then beyond that, you know, kind of Manila. It's the built-up area. Behind us is the mountains, and so as you can see, the higher up we go, the darker the skies are getting there. So you can see the light pollution coming from that light dome. Now, when we started shooting the Parrot Nebula, it was over in this area, and it's moving up into these darker skies. So the higher up it gets, as time goes on this evening, we're going to get better and better images of it. You can see if we were shooting Orion's Nebula right now, we'd be getting some pretty good images. But I chose not to shoot it because, as you can see, we've got power lines up here, and then we've got our house directly behind us. So I wouldn't get a lot of time on Orion from here. By the time the sun goes down and it's in this area and then it's tracking this way, best time to get Orion Nebulae would be from the back of the house at around 2 AM when it's transitioned to the other side, and then it's super dark over there. So we should though have a couple of hours on the nebulae that we're shooting right now until it reaches the kind of location that Orion is at this point, and then we'll stop capturing data and we'll see what we've got. Okay, so we've collected now 1 hour and 5 minutes of data on this nebulae, and Deep Sky Stacker Live has been outputting a file every 10 frames, and if I open up that in Cyril and I give it a kind of quick dirty auto stretch, you can see we have plenty of data in there. There's tons of stars. You can see some color there. It's pretty blown out in the middle there with the auto stretch, but we'll fix all of that later. But certainly we have plenty of information there, plenty of stars, and we should be able to get a nice image out of this. So I'll give it maybe another half an hour to an hour on this target, and then we'll switch to something else. So we're coming up for about 2 hours of data now on the Parrot Nebulae. We've actually got two nebulae in there. There's the Parrot Nebula, and next to it is a seagull. So we've got both of those in the frame. I'm going to stop imaging shortly, and I'm going to switch then to taking our darks at the same focal length, temperature, and so on. And then we're going to get framed upon a new target, which is just coming up above the horizon now. And after we get set up on that, I'm going to give auto guiding a try. Never done it before, so we'll get that set up. I've got my guide camera, which is going to have to lock onto a couple of stars for guiding, and we've got PhD 2 already set up on the laptop, so we'll see if we can get it auto guiding. If not, then we'll just image using our regular tracking. But I've noticed that with these 60-second, 90-second exposures, I'm getting elongated stars. They're not pin perfect, so obviously the exposure is too long for the accuracy of the tracking. Also, the road outside here where I've got the mount set up, it's a slope, and I'm not entirely sure that the mount is level, and if your leveling isn't exactly spot on, it's going to cause problems as well with your polar alignment and tracking. So we've got 2 hours and 4 minutes and 30 seconds of data. You can see what I mean about the slightly elongated stars here. Out of all the images, there's only 2 that it's labeled as not stackable. No, 2, 3. So there's 3 that are labeled not stackable. So I think we've got pretty good data here. We've got another image just coming in now. So I'm going to turn this off shortly, and I'm going to start taking our darks, and then we'll get set up for auto guiding. So I've given up trying to get auto guide working for tonight. I got the camera connected, and in PhD I was just getting this blurry, grainy image. I think it's something to do with the focus. I need to figure that out, probably in the daylight, get the guide scope on a target focused, get an image coming through the camera so I know it's focused, and then we'll try PhD guiding. That'll be a another project another time. So we don't waste the clear skies tonight, I'm on another object now. It's a kind of another nebulae, not a common one, it's just in the right place at the right time of the sky. So it's called CED 1069. It's an interstellar matter, nebulae, a cloud of dust. There's a lot of stars around it, and we should get a nice image from it. So we'll see what comes out. I'm going to try and collect around another 2 hours of data on this particular target. Okay, so I'm done collecting my data on the Parrot nebulae, and the other nebulae didn't have a name, just a code name. And now rising is the Whirlpool Galaxy. So rather than shifting the cameras to the back of the house and setting up and polar aligning again, I'm just going to stay where I am. I'm going to start shooting the Whirlpool Galaxy. This will be my first galaxy that I've ever shot. So far I've done the sun, I've done some star clusters, nebulae. This will be a galaxy. So Whirlpool Galaxy is pretty cool. There's one galaxy and it's sucking in another. It's two galaxies colliding, but it looks weird, and one is sucking up and eating the stars from the other one and becoming one large galaxy. So let's start imaging this. It's a relatively bright object, so I'm just going to go for 30-second subs with a gain of 200, and we'll gather as much data as we can on this to stack and make a nice image. So there's our live image coming in, and here's our stacked image here. You can see we've got some details coming out there, that Whirlpool Galaxy and the other smaller galaxy that it's eating. It's pretty incredible sitting here seeing these images coming in. Quite exciting, really. It's one of the things I like about the hobby is you know, the gadgets, the computers. It combines technology and learning, and there's a lot of fun to be had with this hobby. So all right, so while I'm collecting data on that, I can actually start the deep sky stacker to start stacking the images. So here's what we're gonna stack the images that we took. I already did the Parrot Nebula, I already stacked that one. So the other image that we took this evening was CED 106N. So we will select all of the images that are in this folder here. So we just go Shift, select all those. So we open all these images. So they will all be added to the list. Then I will do the same for my dark files, which I also shot, and the offsets and bias. So we'll load up our dark files. It's in a folder here named CEDN darks. So again, select all of those. And then we'll also take our offset and bias files. We open all those. Okay, so now we've got everything in here. We'll check all above the threshold where the minimum score must be 100. And then we go to register all our checked pictures. Okay, and we'll take select the best 80% of the pictures and stack them. I'm going to increase that because I didn't get a whole lot of pictures, so I'm going to go to take the best 90%. Okay, so now Deep Sky Stacker will go through all the images that we've got. So it's adding our dark frames first. Now it's going to register all our images. So we've got 92 images altogether. that are all going to be combined, stacked, and give us a master file that we can then put into PixInsight and pull the data out of. So to save time, I can have the computer running that while I'm still collecting data on our next target. So I was doing some image editing while this was capturing. You can see our tracking is a little bit off, so I'm going to stop the images. I'm going to plate solve and realign, and then continue capturing. Just center everything back up again. Okay, so it's all lined up again, and we've already got 160 images, 30 seconds each, 1 hour 20 minutes. I'm going to now take 60-second exposures just to bring out some of the fainter details. So we'll leave that running to collect some more data, so we can start then editing this probably tomorrow. There it is. You see, faint there in the middle, but we'll see how the 60-second exposure looks like. We've been doing 30 seconds. So the 60-second one will be coming in any moment now. Okay, saving the image. Nah, you see now we've got a lot more visibility there into that spiral Whirlpool Galaxy.